Hello, everybody. Smaug the DM here, and just wow. I can't believe we've made it this far. I mean, I knew it was gonna happen this year, that we were gonna hit the 7,500 sub special, but we're here, and I still say this every time we make it to a sub goal. I wanted to thank each and every single one of you who have subscribed to this channel. Honestly, whether you're brand new here or you've been here since the very beginning, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for your continued support and everything else like that. And before we get started, there's a lot of things that I do need to talk about. But let's just say this. If you want to continue to further support me here on YouTube, other than just subscribing and liking the videos, which is already good enough, that's already good enough on its own. But if you want to continue further supporting me, I have both a PayPal page that you can donate cash to me as well. But if you don't want to do that because you're uncertain of where that money goes to, then I also have a Throne page, and both of those will be linked in both the description down below, as well as my homepage on the channel. Yeah, sorry, I had to shamelessly plug myself into this. Oh, God, kill me. But yeah, if we can make it to another 2,500 subs by the end of this year, I will be fucking amazed. And it's crazy that I've gotten this far. And I have all of you people that continue to support me and everything like that. It's just absolutely insane. But for this particular special, here we go. This has probably been, I think, ever since I did a Season 4 suggestions video, I think this has probably been my most highly requested question I have ever been asked for my channel. That it's not funny. And keeping this answer a secret is incredibly difficult, especially when a lot of people try to trick me into getting the answer out. Yeah, you're not getting it out of me that easy. But yeah, we're here to talk about my top 13 favorite cryptids. Now, and I do want to put in a disclaimer here for two things for this video, right? Number one, this is my own opinion. These are my own favorite cryptids, and you probably will have a very different list of what your favorite cryptids are. So if you want to put down your favorite cryptid in the comment section down below, that would be really freaking nice, because I would actually love to see what you guys think. Like, what's your favorite cryptid, honestly? And I'll kind of jump into that conversation as well. And then another thing to add to that, for this particular list, there will be no urban legends and no creepypastas in here. It's only fair because these are technically supposed to be cryptids and cryptozoology and everything like that. Urban legends can just, they're like 50-50 of whether they're true or not. And then obviously creepypastas, as much as I love reading them, are not technically cryptids either. So I just had to get that straight out of the way, so that way we are all on the same page as to what this list is pertaining. And I guess I'll quickly just, talk about what cryptozoology is for those of you who are unaware on this channel. It's basically like the study of unknown animals, and I've talked about a lot of different series that involve cryptids on my channel, mainly mountain monsters and, of course, lost tapes. And yes, if you're thinking that this list is heavily inspired by lost tapes, You'd be very correct. You'd be very correct. A lot of these cryptids on my list here do have at least a Lost Tapes episode tied to them. So, shouldn't be too much of a surprise, but I'm hoping that you guys all enjoy it all the same. So, why don't we get started with number 13? Okay. So, for those of you who don't know about cryptozoology, right, you'll probably think of two very popular and probably kind of important cryptids in your mind. Like, this is something that even if you don't know about cryptozoology, everyone knows about these two. And the first one is the Loch Ness Monster. Yep. Yeah, the Loch Ness Monster had to be on this list, not the fucking other one. Don't worry, that one is on this list, trust me. Fucking hell. But yeah, no, the Loch Ness Monster was technically the first cryptid I ever knew about. And there's a lot of reasons why I freaking love this thing, too. I love Nessie. It's because it's probably mainly the biggest reason is probably all the franchises I grew up with having, Loch Ness Monster related shit to them. But it also ties down to like a family thing, right? See, I partially from my Mother of Dragons side of the family is partially Scottish Irish. Don't ask me how that works. Do not ask me how that works. So yes, I'm very heavily tied to that culture a little bit. And just honestly, overall, you can't talk about the loch without talking about the monster within it. And again, with all the different pieces of media that I grew up with, Waterhorse, it's a thing. Please do not watch it. I watched it once and I was dying of cringe. It was... I don't mean to criticize people who really like that movie, but man, was that shit garbage. Man, was that bad. I mean, Jesus. I'm having a hard time talking here. But there's also other different types of media outside of that movie that tied with the Loch Ness, right? There was a Dinosaur King episode based on the Loch Ness Monster in which the dinosaur in question was actually a very aggressive Amarg, which made me introduced to a Margosaurus, which is really cool. Hell, even in the games that I'm currently playing right now with Yu-Gi-Oh!, they have an entire cryptid archetype for the game, and one of their main boss monsters outside of Bigfoot is Nessie. And that's a card I heavily use too, so it's like, it's really cool, like, hey, Nessie's in there. But I think probably, honestly, the biggest reason why Loch Ness Monster's on this list is probably because of the Scooby-Doo movie that came out for it. Oh my god. Like, if we're going, like, these are like, I call the new Scooby-Doo, like, what's new Scooby-Doo, like, more modern Scooby-Doo, when it's technically not, but it's one of the better, more modern Scooby-Doo movies. I just freaking love this movie to death, and I watched the hell out of it as a kid. I freaking loved, like, even, because they had both the fake Loch Nesses in there and the real Loch Ness in this movie. And the fake Loch Ness design is I really love its fucking design, even though I think, like, it's incredibly inaccurate. But it was still really neat. I freaking love this movie, too. And I think that's mainly why Loch Ness is number 13 on the list, is just simply because of the Scooby-Doo movie. It really is just that. Number 12. Okay, so we got through the first popular cryptid. Here's the second one. you can't talk about Mount Everest, you can't talk about the Himalayas without talking about the Yeti. Yeah, Yeti had to be on here too. Oh, man. And what's fun, and what's really neat about this thing too is that, is the fact that it's actually still a Bigfoot. It is just a regular Bigfoot. But so many depictions of the Yeti have it, have white fur. Technically, it has brown fur. So, a lot of it is inaccurate just because it just lives in the snow. And so it's covered by snow all the time. Which is absolutely freaking weird to see, a Bigfoot be described as, brown, but everyone depicts this damn thing with having white fur. Because, it makes sense. You're living up in Mount Everest, or you're living up in the Himalayan mountains, where it's all fucking snowy, and you think, oh, hey, an animal should have white fur to blend in with its environment. But nope, not this damn thing. And it's mainly because of two reasons why Yeti is... Well, actually, it's three reasons why Yeti's on this list. First of all, the Lost Tapes episode on the Yeti. I do watch this one on occasion. It's still really fun. And it's mainly the reason why I get on the second thing, which is Expedition Everest. It's a roller coaster all the way up in Disney's Animal Kingdom. That's entirely dedicated to the Yeti. And I have to watch the episode before going on the coaster. And actually, I think the best part of that coaster, honestly, is the Yeti Museum just before you get on the ride. Because there is a whole bunch of really neat shit onto it. Hell, that probably Lost Tapes made this reference to it, or I think it's the other way around, because I think the Lost Tapes episode came out before the ride. But they have a whole section in the museum where, there's a tent there that's ripped up, and you got photographs of the Yeti attacking a camera guy, which looks incredibly like Lost Tapes. It's insanely cool to see that. Because it reminds me of the very beginning episode, very beginning portion of the Lost Tapes episode, where Mark Horstrom is getting attacked by the Yeti. And then, there's also this giant foot impression, in the museum itself. And I think it was, and there was a whole expedition done by it. And I'm forgetting the fucking guy's name. He's the guy who's the host of, Destination Unknown, or Expedition, Unknown, something like that. He went out to that same area, found a Bigfoot, the Yeti's foot impression, and that piece of evidence is in the Yeti Museum, which is insanely cool to see that. Because it's fucking massive, dude. Massive! It's holy shit. But yeah, really the Yeti, the whole ride itself too is really cool. But I think this is probably the biggest reason, and this is number 3. This is probably the biggest reason why Yeti's even on this list. It's simply because, and I really wanted to do this for the channel, but because of the emulator crashing on me, before I can even get to that level, there's a part in Dangerous Hunts 2 where the Yeti is the final boss. You get to kill the Yeti in this game, which is insanely cool. You get to kill the Yeti in this fucking game. It's crazy. I also didn't know that Hogzilla was a part of the game too until I did the entire story video that I did last year. But holy shit, I definitely remember the Yeti, and that was the biggest reason why I wanted to play that game so badly, was for me to kill the Yeti. Oh, man. It sucks that I can't do that, but if I got, let's say, if I did get a PlayStation 3 with backwards compatibility, I would 100% finish Dangerous Hunts 2 and show you guys that level. Because I really, really want to show you this fight. I really want to show that fight, because it would be so fucking cool to see that. But yeah, that's why the Yeti is number 12 on my list. Number 11. All right, here we go. Here is, I think, probably one of the few cryptids I did not actually know about until I saw the parody video. And that is the Eureka monster, or the Erica monster, whichever way you want to pronounce it. And it's basically a dinosaur cryptid that's found all the way out in Chile, which, I'll just say this, there's no fucking way in hell a velociraptor will be out in Chile. I'm sorry, this is like one of the few cryptids that I can't see it being a possibility. Would it be cool? Hell yeah, that would be cool. But I don't see a fucking normal velociraptor being alive right now and being in Chile, of all places. But mainly the Eureka monster is a part of this list due to the fact that, again, this is Lost Tapes, they made an entire parody intro. There's an entire parody intro on YouTube for the Eureka monster. And I still, fondly, to this day, really wanted an episode of Lost Tapes to have this thing, because it would be honestly insanely cool. But mainly that's the real reason why it's even on the list, is just simply because it's Dinosaur Cryptid number 1, and number 2, it's tied to potentially a really good episode of Lost Tapes that just never happened. And hell, I'll even say this right now for this video. For the season 4 crew, we were going to plan to do that episode. And it would have been heavily inspired, by the parody video. And kind of sucks that it never happened. But yeah, the idea for that episode would have been, and if I remember this very correctly, because it's been a while since I've read the script for this one, it was going to be a family traveling down. Their car breaks down, and they're held up by a farmer over there. And they basically have to survive the night, if you will, against this thing. In which we would have probably made it the Jurassic Park Raptors, which... because technically the Eureka monster is meant to be a velociraptor, not a Utah raptor, but hey man, I'm just saying, it would have been a really cool episode overall, just basically surviving the night on a farm. But that's why the Eureka monster is number 11 on my list. Number 10. Alright. This one has an entire fucking game dedicated to it. And this is a cryptid that I have very recently talked about on the channel. So this thing does not need a damn introduction anymore.
See? Nothing to worry about. Get out! Run!
And it's the Caftar. Yeah, just simply put it, it's the fucking Caftar. It all tied down to Dangerous Hunts 2011. And I just thought this thing was insanely cool, especially researching the hell out of this thing, because I was very unaware that it's actually an Indian cryptid. So then I'm like, how the hell does an Indian cryptid make its way to Africa? And it's like, what? And the whole truth behind that is, yes, it's a thing. Indians, as they were passing through, working on probably the railways, because that's definitely what the fucking British did. It's definitely what the British did. They enlisted Indian people to work on the railways. That's probably how the legend of the Kaftar spread from India to Africa. And in Africa, it's, again, they're based on were hyenas, which is insane, which, again, is really damn cool. I mean, obviously the Kaftar can't control other animals to kill people, but it definitely has a lot of its abilities that, you know, a were hyena does, where they'll go hunting after people, and if you're bitten by it, then you turn one into one as well, which is kind of neat in a way. But yeah, it's mostly for the damn Dangerous Hunts 2011 game, and just overall, being a were hyena is incredibly cool. Number 9. So, I really wanted to pick a PA cryptid. Oh, so badly. But turns out, we only have one cryptid if you go up north of where I live, where even if you do see it, you just die. You die. So, I don't know what the hell it is. And then most of our cryptids in my state at least, are on the western side of the state. So when you get to like Erie and Gettysburg, that's where all the creepy shit happens. So where I live, we have fucking nothing, which kind of sucks. But if you go across the water, we do have the Jersey Devil. Let me just say this. This is, like, probably the first cryptid I was absolutely terrified of seeing. Because, again, I live so damn close to Jersey and the Pine Barrens. Doesn't mean that I don't want to camp out there or go find it, right? I would still want to try to do it. But I was still, as a kid, scared to death of seeing it. Just because, again, it is basically a fucking chimera of whatever the fuck can be thrown together. It is basically something that should not be, right? It should not be a thing, but it is a thing. So, like, for me, trying to comprehend the Jersey Devil is like, huh? What? Again, this one also has a Lost Tapes episode tied to it, in which that episode is the poster child for Lost Tapes. It's in every single fucking intro since season 2. Yep. The foot being stomped down at the door is in every single intro ever since season 2. It has to be, right? And it's mainly just, again, it's mainly, again, the fact that I live so damn close to this thing, and I've heard so many stories about it, and that's probably the biggest reason why it's on the list, other than its origin story being an absolute, just amazing story to go through, with Mother Leeds having 12 children, and before she having her 13th child, she cried out, "Let it be the devil," and it turned into the monster and killed everybody and floop out of the chimney. And it's like, what? And it's also because, hey, look, this guy loves fucking 13. And the Jersey Devil is always associated with the number 13. So that's probably another big reason why, is, again, I live so close to the damn thing, I could probably just find it. And number 2, it's associated with probably my favorite number, actually. No, scratch that. It is my favorite number. What the fuck am I saying? So that's why Jersey Devil's number 9 on my list. Number 8. Okay. I really, really wanted to put a werewolf on this list. So badly. But it's hard to pick specifically which werewolf I really wanted, right? Because there's so many that live right around the same area. It's just like, oh, man. Because here's the thing about werewolves, right? I don't understand why I don't understand why, but I do appreciate werewolves more than I do vampires. I don't know if there's an answer as to why. But I think it's just because you already know what you're expecting with a werewolf. I think with a vampire, you don't know what the hell you're going to get. But ultimately, I boiled it down to two choices. Dogman or the Beast of Bray Road. And I went with the Beast of Bray Road instead. Not to discredit Dogman, but they kind of both live in the same fucking area. But the Beast of Bray Road is way, way more famous. Literally you cannot talk about Bray Road in Wisconsin without talking about this werewolf, who, as far as I'm aware, is not afraid to show off. It's not afraid to stick its head out and go, yo. Because, the first, reported encounter, which Lost Tapes did mention this, was a guy literally fishing off of a river where he sees a pack of dogs, fires off his gun, and the last dog, which is the Bray Road Beast, he stands the fuck up and scares the shit out of the guy. It's like, holy shit. What the fuck? This thing's not afraid to show off. But again, if I went on Bray Road, and he came running across the road.
What? It ain't my fault he ran right in front of my truck.
Where? On the interstate?
Sorta.
You bet your fucking ass I'm running it over. You don't think I would fucking not try that and see what happens? I'll definitely do a fuck around and find out. Because it's basically a wolf-sized man, pretty much. And it has a lot more of the wolf tendencies to it than a man tendencies, but I'm still gonna try it. Also because I've had a friend go there. You might know him. His name's B-Rad. He actually vacationed over to Bray Road. He didn't find anything, which kind of stunk, but it's probably the main reason why Beast of Bray Road is number 8 on my list, simply because I had a friend go over there, and just because overall it's a very aggressive and very, and this wolf kind of shows off. Also because there's a Lost Tapes episode, which I think is incredibly fun to watch. It's dumb, but I love watching it. Number 7. Okay. So, here's another one I've gotten really into. And there's 2 versions of this cryptid. First of all, let me address the one that's probably more common here in the United States. It's the one that lives in Texas, Mexico, Arizona, that Midwestern, or not Midwestern, western side of the country, right? That chupacabra is obviously meant to be more coyote with mange, right? No matter how much I look at this damn thing, that's coyote with mange, right? So, that one I think is still incredibly cool because it's more dog-like, and that's probably the more realistic version of the two. But the one I really wanted to go into and dive into is the Puerto Rican version of the chupacabra. This thing is meant to be more alien-like, and looking at it, yeah, that's oh my god. Yeah, that's still terrifying as fuck. And the first time I went to Puerto Rico, even though I was I knew I was in a very populated area, right? I'm not out in the middle of the fucking jungle, right? Looking for this damn thing. at least on my first trip I wasn't doing that. But when I first was sleeping there at that night, actually, I didn't even sleep that night. Who am I fucking kidding? First night I was in Puerto Rico, I did not sleep because of this damn thing. And I was checking outside of the room, almost practically every hour. like, seeing, like, okay, where the fuck are you at, little fucker? Like, I was absolutely terrified to be in Puerto Rico first time. Now I'm not so scared, and I'm actually going to go there for my third time later this year. Again, with another goal of actually finding the damn thing, because I'm no longer scared of it. But the fact that, you know, this chupacabra has its interesting origin of being a lab experiment all the way up in El Yuge Mountain and escaping during a storm, that makes sense, because Puerto Rico gets hit with, what, like 5 hurricanes, like, every year? It's a thing. It is legitimately a thing that can definitely happen. And considering how quickly you can lose power on that island, it's scary, man. It's really fucking scary. And again, the fact that this chupacabra is a little more bizarre than its U.S. its mainland U.S. counterpart, is what makes it so interesting. And on top of that, also seeing UFO sightings around the same area, great! Fan-fucking-tastic! Oh my god. But then also, again, the Chupacabra episode of Lost Tapes is an incredibly, really good episode. And especially with it being the very first episode of Lost Tapes, even the one that I saw, that's why Chupacabra is so high on my list. Number 6. Okay, I'll admit, this is where I started cheating a little bit, because this is when it gets incredibly hard to narrow it down. But, and please do not laugh at me for this, ghosts. No, just simply ghosts and spirits and shit like that. Right? You don't really think about it, but they're technically cryptids, because there's still something that, you know, we can't fully understand, right? I mean, we have some inkling of what they can be, but let's put it at this. Ghosts are pretty much people who have died, and they don't understand that they're dead, or they have business to finish, at least in this physical plane, right? That's basically the most bare bone thing ghosts do. And especially the ghosts that, like, really, like, you know, hit me here are the ones that, you know, involve in pretty bad tragedies. You know, there was, like, because, again, I've grown up with so many ghost shows, too. Like, Ghost Adventures, what the fuck else? It's mainly Ghost Adventures I grew up with, watching. Oh, any of you kids who grew up with me, The Other Siders on Cartoon Network. Anybody? Anybody? No? Just me? Fuck. But, yeah, no, the most tragic thing about ghosts, right? There was an episode of Ghost Adventures, right? Where this one teenage girl, she accidentally died due to drunk driving accident, and she hit through a fucking tree and just literally obliterated the car. And the daughter just so happens to haunt the family home, just like she's been there the entire time. And it's incredibly beautiful, but it's also fucking tragic as hell when you think about it. Because this poor girl just died because some fucking idiot ran her over. And, you know, or caused her to bump into a fucking huge-ass tree. And, you know, she doesn't want to move on because she died so young. And it's, like, it's crazy to think about that. But, you know, again, ghosts are not always gonna be that, you know, that nice, or, you know, have their stories be that tragic, right? Because then you've got something like poltergeists, right? Where they're a very malicious spirit that just causes nothing but fucking trouble just so you could get out of the fucking house. And then I'm going to also put this in the same category, but demons can technically be a ghost or a spirit type thing, right? Because they're still incorporeal, right? And they're still just as much as a poltergeist, right? So if a poltergeist is still technically a ghost type, right? Demons would be then on the same level as a poltergeist. They just do more malicious shit to you. Like, succubi, incubi, they literally just have sex with you until you die. Like, that's a thing. There's also, and I dread to say it, fucking vampiric ghosts. Oh my god, fucking vampire ghost. How? Why and how? Why? Is the dog, like the werewolf-looking motherfuckers from Lost Tapes, not bad enough? I have to see something that I can't fucking see? As vampiric? What the fuck?
The person I thought of was Rosemary Ellen Guiley. She has authored encyclopedias that describe these ancient legends. So Rosemary seemed ideally suited for this case.
I'm Rosemary Ellen Guiley. I work full-time in the paranormal as a field investigator, researcher, and author. A vampire is, in the broadest definition, an entity that drains the life force. It may not be blood, literally. It could be your energy, your health, your luck. Sometimes these energy vampires can be dormant, often for long periods of time. Sometimes it has to wait until the right person comes along that it can get that energy boost from. And in Michelle's case, I think when her family moved into a place that was already occupied by an energy vampire, it saw an opportunity to latch on to the most vulnerable person, and she might have been that target.
This energy vampire is quite capable of following people from one location to another. Given time, an energy vampire can be lethal to its living victim. It can drain so much energy away from that person that eventually the effect is fatal.
God damn it! Oh, man. But then I'll probably bring in one more type of ghost into this category, which are banshees. I actually do like banshees because, again, you know, my heritage is based on Irish and Scottish, right? And they're both and banshees are kind of like that, and they're also based on Celtic mythology, which again is really fucking cool. But technically, banshees are a type of ghost. They're just ghosts that specifically ring out your death, really, and it's kind of neat to see that. So, overall, just in general, ghosts are highly, highly interesting when you really think about it. Hell, they have an entire game based off of them. Phasmophobia, if you've ever played it. It's incredibly fun. But yeah, that's why ghosts, spirits, all that other shit is number 6 on my list. Number 5. Okay. This one had to also be on this list. I cannot put this one off of the list. I will be so damn upset if I did. Hellhounds. This is also another very cheaty category, but yes, hellhounds. And just in general, a hellhound is simply a black dog with red eyes. That's basically their general gist. Is that their most basic form, it's basically a demonic spirit summoning one, just to scare you. Really, that's their basic form. But, you know, there are hellhounds that guard owners' graves, and obviously there's a lot more famous hellhounds, like Black Shuck of England. There are the Keyloots that I talked very recently about, and obviously, again, a Lost Tapes episode is also tied down to the hellhound. And I think it's mainly the reason why I like hellhounds so much is because of their seeing ability. Like, you can't see a hellhound. Otherwise, ill luck is going to plague you. And it's mainly due to the curse of seeing the hellhound 3 times. And if you see it 3 times, you just instantly die. Which is kind of crazy to really think about it. It's a dog of death, if you will. There's even types of, hellhounds that you can't even fucking see. Like the ones in Supernatural. And the ones that are in Mountain Monsters, aka the Smoke Wolves. They're basically a type of hellhound. Which, the Smoke Wolves and fucking Mountain Monsters, terrifying as fuck. I'll still put them up very high on my list for that, is because they're so damn creepy. If you have to rattle a chain in order for them to stop hunting you is a thing, that's creepy as fuck, right? And again, it's because of the Lost Tapes episode too. And honestly, I'll say this much. Because of that episode of Lost Tapes, this is why I like Rottweilers so much. Honest to God, because the Rottweilers that I work with currently at my workplace, they're fucking angels. I swear to God, but every time I see a Rottweiler, I'm like, oh, there's a hellhound. I can't get over that fucking episode, man. It's crazy. So, literally, it's making me think I really want to own a Rottweiler. I really do. Just because they are, a lot of the Rottweilers that I work with, they're like fucking angels. They're angels. They are. Well, except for maybe one. One of them in which, he fucking throws your weight around. He'll throw your weight around, and he's a big boy. So, I mean, Rottweilers overall, they're really nice dogs. Despite the fact that they're guard dogs, they're really nice. And honestly, that's why Hellhound is number 5 on my list. Number 4. Alright, you're thinking, where the hell is it? Where did you put it? Because you even got because I even told my friends about this too. I even got a fucking patch of this thing. I love it so much. And this cryptid is the Falk Monster. Or if you've seen the Lost Tapes episode for it, the Southern Sasquatch. Yep, I really wanted to put this one in because, again, my favorite episode of Lost Tapes has been the Southern Sasquatch because of how fucking funny it is. But yeah, it's also due to the fact that this Bigfoot is incredibly, and I do mean incredibly, aggressive to anybody. Literally, when it was first encountered, it went to a family home. The wife got scared. The 2 hunters showed up, then started scaring the hell out of it. And then later on in the night, after the monster left, he then flung the hunter off of the fucking porch as he had his back turned. It's like, what? Holy shit, the Bigfoot just moved behind a couple of trees and is like, you know what? I'm about to pull a fucking prank. And just yanked his ass out. It was like, holy shit. And I knew I wasn't going to put in urban legends here, but technically, Southern Sasquatch is meant to be an urban legend. And I don't see why that is if there's been shit that's been reported on, right? Why would it be an urban legend if, you've got reports on it? If you have reports on something, then it's no longer an urban legend. It's a cryptid at that rate. And it's, again, mainly because of the Lost Tapes episode why I love this thing so damn much. And because, there's a ton of fucking Bigfoots, right? There are so many that I just had to pick one. And I knew this one had to be a lot higher than the fucking Yeti. Just because of that. And so that's why the Southern Sasquatch or the Falk Monster is number 4 on my list. Number 3. Okay. So, I might just reveal this right now. My last three might all technically be Native American stuff. Yeah. Because I'll be fucking honest with you. Native American, cryptids, the shit that they've spotted are way fucking terrifying. They're absolutely fucking terrifying when you really think about it. And the literal Satan of Native American, cryptids are the skinwalkers. Yeah. And I can understand why. They have so many fucking abilities to them that just make them so fucking terrifying. They have the ability to shapeshift. They have the ability to mock people. And they're just fucking hard to kill, really. They're insanely hard to kill. Because you're mainly going to catch them in their animal form, which you can't tell when they're going to turn in their animal or back to their human form. Which is crazy. And it's also because there's so many depictions of skinwalkers. And hell, they have a fucking famous-ass ranch. All the way out in the Navajo desert, I think. In which there's been a lot of paranormal and supernatural shit to it. It's infamous for it. Which is absolutely insane. The fact that there's also a Lost Tapes episode to it, and the fact that there's basically an entire season of mountain monsters dedicated to these bastards. I mean, I really wish that, mountain monsters continued that pathway, because, again, their skinwalkers were insanely fucking creepy. But the season that we got with them, oh my god. I wanted more, because I really wanted to know what the fuck these things were. But yeah, genuinely, it's also because there's been so many sightings. Hell, this one video right here that I'm currently probably showing on screen is the one dude just going out into the fucking backyard, and he doesn't even notice it, but the eyes on one of the glow, he sees there's glowing eyes on a tree that just drop down and just die out. And then he fucking hears the thing, and it's like, what the even I said, what the fuck is that? Because that shit was fucking terrifying. Like, what? Oh my god, no. Nope. And it's also because you can't even talk about skinwalkers. Like, the Navajo people, they can't literally bring it up. It is such a cursed cryptid that you can't talk about it without being scared. You can't even bring up its fucking name, or otherwise it'll come after your ass. I know what that name is, and if you've seen the Lost Tapes episode, you know what that name is. Please, for the love of all that is fuck, do not use that. I don't need this thing coming after your ass, okay? I care about you guys that deeply that I'm telling you right now. Do not unleash a fucking skinwalker on your property. For the love of all that is fuck. Please do not be this dumb, okay? Sorry. But it's just the fact that they have so many insane abilities, and just how genuinely creepy somebody could truly make a skinwalker be is why they're number 3 on my list.
Charlie.
Oh my god.
And did you just fucking hear that? That was fucking it. Oh. Fuck this, I'm out. Fuck this.
Number 2. Alright. Soul Mont Pleasant. If you're watching this video, you'll be pretty damn happy about what's on this spot. And that is the Wendigo. And I'll just say this, there are so many different interpretations of the Wendigo that it's not even funny. Like, if you just go on the surface level of the Lost Tapes episode version of Wendigo, that's not even technically what the Wendigo is. You want to know what the Wendigo really is? It's this pale-looking motherfucker. And it's also based on Native American mythology. In Native American mythology as well, Wendigos can be just this black, shadowy, like this very tall, black, shadowy demon that just stalks people. It's like, what the fuck? Like, there's so many different interpretations for the Wendigo as well. And it's not even based on its bare bone abilities of just it, mimicking voices and eating human flesh. Like, it can't just be that simple either. But the main reason why it's so high on the list, other than its Lost Tapes episode, which is, don't get me wrong, it still is really damn scary. It still is. Vampire's still more terrifying, though. Oh, man. It's not only for the fact that it's already a terrifying cryptid and the fact that it can be based off of, an actual mental disease, with Wendigo psychosis. It's not the fact that there's so many different interpretations of it. There's like a whole entire story in, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, about the Wendigo, which you don't even see what the Wendigo is. It's just some guy that starts hearing voices out in the middle of freezing cold and then follows out to where those voices are. That's it. In the remake for Pet Sematary, there's even a Wendigo-like figure that's meant to represent, him taking dead things from the grave and reanimating them, which... Oh, Jesus Christ. It actually sounds a lot more terrifying when you really think about it, that he can resurrect the dead. Oh, God. So it's not even that either. It's also, and this is mainly why it's so high on the list, because I've never told about this story before, but I can attest that B-Rad, once again, and I also talked to this individual. And let's just say I know a guy who has seen a Wendigo. And again, it's not the Lost Tapes version. It's that pale-looking motherfucker version. And you could fucking... I don't know. I mean, I had a hard time hearing anything or seeing anything in the video that he even presented. But this one dude, he walks out on a fucking trail practically every day, and he either sees it out of the corner of his eye, or he hears whispers and voices coming from the brush. So, on one side of the trail, it's completely clear. It shows off into a highway or something like that. And then on the other side of the trail is just completely, forested. With a ton of bushes and debris right in front of it. In front of the pathway. And saw the video of it, and I'll just say this. Knowing the fact that knowing that I know somebody who has seen it is already scary enough as it is. Let alone, it's a version of the Wendigo that, again, does not have any teleportation abilities, but is more, let's just say, if he fucking catches you, he'll fucking torture you. He literally the pale version, or the mythological version of the Wendigo, literally torments its victims before actually ripping their souls out. That's how scary this fucker is. And to think that I knew a guy that encountered that version of the Wendigo, that's just enough. That's already enough to make this thing my closest favorite. And that's why Wendigo is number 2 on my list. All right, before we get to number 1, and this is my very first time doing this, I have to put in some honorable mentions. I'm sorry, like, there are way too many cryptids that I wanted to put on this list so badly, but a lot of them did not get the main spots. But for the sake of just not making this video go on for like hours and hours on end, I've got 3 honorable mentions that I want to make. First honorable mention. You already know what it is. Yep, bring it. It's the monster in Monterey Bay. Let's just say this. I still think that episode is really that bad. Hell, at least Reptilian tried to be entertaining. It actually tried. Did it fail? Yes, because it was still a middle finger to the series. But I was more bored than anything else in Monterey. And what's funny is, technically, the monster of Monterey is already been confirmed to not be an actual cryptid no more. Because technically, the origin of monster of Monterey Bay is that a body washed up on the shore. And when scientists were looking at the body, they didn't think it was a whale or a dolphin or anything like that. Just because it was so bloated in a way that it didn't look recognizable. But of course, when it decayed, and actually the bones of that washed up whale are in one of the natural science museums in Monterey, which is insanely cool, and I really want to see that. But yeah, it was confirmed to be like some beaked whale. I don't remember what species it was, but yes, it was a whale that washed up on the beach and looked incredibly weird. Because it wasn't like bloated or anything. It was just, well, maybe the head was bloated, but the rest of the body was just, was flat. Which is probably why they gave it so much flack for it being a plesiosaur than anything else. But the main reason why I wanted to mention Monterey, you already fucking know. It's infamous on the channel for a fucking reason. And that reason is because everyone makes fun of me for absolutely hating this episode, for hating the episode of Lost Tapes that has the monster of Monterey. And I've said it over and over again, but you can literally put any other fucking sea monster in that episode and it would have worked. It honestly would have fucking worked. And it's the fact that there are so many memes tied to me just hating this damn cryptid so much. And it's not the fact that I don't hate it, right? It's just the episode tied to it for Lost Tapes is so bad that I can't stomach this thing no more. But yeah, I definitely had to mention Monster of Monterey Bay. There was no avoiding it. It was gonna be on here somewhere, but, you know, honestly, I much prefer the Loch Ness Monster having an episode over this damn thing. Second honorable mention, the Lone Pine Mountain Devil. Now, if you've heard that name before, it's infamous for a very big prank video on YouTube, where it's just this weird, clumped up ball of quills with several wings sprouting from it, and the video itself is genuinely still very creepy, even to me as a fucking adult. But technically, the cryptid itself is also meant to be an Archaeopteryx or a Microraptor, and it's like, what? So it's technically another dinosaur cryptid, but because of this prank video, everyone thinks it's this weird looking ball. And I'm just like, wow, how can you fuck up this bad? I mean, again, it's an iconic design for me as a kid, but oh my god, I had to bring it up just simply because of the prank video that was done for it, and with how fucking weird it was. But it's technically another dino cryptid, which is insanely cool. And for my last honorable mention, you know what? I couldn't do it. I couldn't live with myself with just putting the Jersey Devil. I had to put in at least one Pennsylvania cryptid. And there's a lot of options, surprisingly. If you go west of the state, there's a lot. But the main one that I picked is the Waterford Sheep Man. And I bet you're already thinking, wait, is this just the PA version of the Goat Man? And you'd be correct. Actually, you would be very much correct. So with this cryptid, it's basically what it is. It's just a sheep man. What did you expect from that? That literally does guard one bridge in the town of Waterford. And it's so infamous for its attacks in the 70s that bridge, by the way, is completely closed off. You can't do anything on it. You can't travel on it. Nothing is completely fenced off because of this thing, which I find that incredibly interesting. Considering it's literally just another goat man, and you would think a lot of paranormal investigators would go after it, but no. And you know another weird thing about this thing too? It looks a lot like another cryptid I really like, and that's the sheep squatch. Do you see like the resemblance? It kind of works out, really. So it's basically just our version of sheep squatch, like the PA version. So it's like a mix between sheep squatch and goat man, which I thought, hey, that's insanely cool. That is really cool. And I almost want to go to Waterford just to see this damn thing, but obviously then realizing, shit, the bridge is already closed off. Never mind, can't do that. But yeah, I had to mention those three at the very least, because I really wanted to put them on the fucking list, but they just couldn't quite make the cut. And obviously there were so many more that I wanted to put on here, but at least I'll mention these three at the very least. And so, with all that out of the way, my number one favorite cryptid is... Alright, you guys really want to know? You really wanted to know? Well, you got it. You're finally getting it. In the number one spot, it's... I'm really trying to, hype this up. Seriously. Can we get somebody to do drum roll, something? Anybody? No? Damn it. Fuck. Alright. Because this is a very big reveal. Because my favorite cryptid is indeed the devil monkey. Look, I'm not going to fucking sugarcoat this anymore, but let's just put it at this. Wendigo and devil monkey were very, very close. Because with Wendigo, I completely forget to mention that in the Wendigo pit, but I scared my friend for the Wendigo episode of Lost Tapes, and hell, every D&D campaign I have now has one of two things to it. Number one, it has dinosaurs, and number two, it's going to have the Wendigo in it. And if you guys have seen the D&D Earth series, now you know that devil monkeys are now the new staple. Just because overall, I mean, look what this thing is. It's just an insanely territorial chimpanzee on steroids. That's basically what the devil monkey is. It's something so simple, but yet equally terrifying on top of that. But why is it so insanely high, you may ask? That's really the main gist of it, isn't it? Why is it so fucking high? Well, it's because I live near the Appalachian Mountains. And guess where it's reported at? In that area. I've had grandparents who live up in those mountains. Like, they have big outdoor houses that are all just surrounded by woods. And, especially when it gets late at night, I always think, like, you know, I don't want to go outside because, you know, devil monkey might be out there. Because it's that high up in elevation, and it's so out in the woods that I'm just thinking, like, there's gotta be a monkey out here, ain't it? And then also because if any of you have seen Monster Quest, I always thought, like, oh, hey, you know, that one episode that had killer chimps to it, and the fact that they had killer chimps all the way out in California made me think, oh, hey, they might have devil monkeys out in California. Yeah, if they did, they would have all died in the fires by now. Because California's had so many dry fires as of recent years that, yeah, I think we've disproven that. But it's mostly due to one fucking thing, and I know some of you may criticize me for somewhat believing this. Some of you may criticize me for, you know, kind of being like, hey, you're not being very nice with this one kid or anything like that. Or, oh, you're picking sides because you like this guy. And it's like, guys, for real, at the end of the day, I was there to hear it and seen it. And to see it, right? And I'll probably address, you know, my bit of it, because I briefly talked about whether I believed it or not. But it's mainly due to Commander Canada's encounter with the devil monkey, because I did a whole dedicated video to it. And you know who was he mentions in his story about streaming lost tapes over Discord, streaming the Lost World Jurassic Park over Discord. You know who was the one who was streaming that? That was me. Because we were sitting there just watching a fucking movie that night. And again, a lot of people can, you know, can still detestify that he wasn't there. But, you know, that night when he first heard those sounds off of the roof, and he had to hide down in the basement with his entire family with a shotgun loaded, he posted a video privately to us, and I instantly fucking regret not keeping that fucking video. But you could hear it. Like, you can hear it howling into the night. And I swear to Christ, it sounds like a mix between a baboon and a tree hyrax. It's a weird combination, but that's exactly what it sounded like. It was creepy as fuck. Now, I can't testify about him killing the two devil monkeys and the bear. That I could not fucking hear. But the fact that I was streaming the night that the monkey first invaded the house, and he got video footage of it, and I was actually hearing it through the Discord call, that honestly fucking terrified the shit out of me. Knowing that I was there hearing the entire story. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, genuinely freaked out. And man, I really did wish that Canada had better samples, because probably the reason why it came back dog, honestly, is because it got contaminated with the dog's fur. I know he could probably say, well, that came right off of the monkey's body, but nah, it probably was a fur off the dog's body, or, you know, the hair got contaminated with the dog, and, you know, DNA went through and said, oh, well, shit, it's a dog. But yeah, it's really tied down to mainly Commander Canada's story. And again, I know a lot of you will criticize me for believing in him. At least in... Okay. Here's the thing about his story, right? I don't necessarily believe him when he said he killed the monkeys, right? Because I have no evidence to that. Because when he was traveling on his ATV vehicle, you couldn't hear jack shit because of the wind. Because of the wind going off of the ATV vehicle. So I cannot testify him for that. But what I can testify for is the sounds of the monkey on the roof the very first night it attacked the house. That I can testify for. Because I was actually there on the Discord call hearing it, and then even saw the video of him recording the audio. Which again, I instantly fucking regret that, I didn't get to download it or anything like that. Because, oh man, that would have bolstered his case, but fuck if I know. But honestly, just overall, the Devil Monkey, its association with the Lost Tapes episode, the fact that it's an incredibly unique and interesting story with Commander Canada, as well as in D&D Earth with the whole pale devil monkeys attacking Aiden's grandparents thing. It was basically inspired by Commander Canada's story. But honestly, just overall, the fact that it is just basically an overpowered fucking monkey that's living in, not just the United States, all of North America, is already enough for me to be my favorite. And, yeah, a lot of people may just be like, what the fuck? Really? This is your answer? And yeah, this is it. You wanted to know? You got it. Devil Monkey is 100% my favorite cryptid. And with that out of the way, wow. I think that's a huge weight lifted off of my fucking chest to finally just blurt it out. I know a lot of people are going to criticize me for it, but hey, it's honestly the truth. That really is the truth. That, devil monkeys are my favorite cryptid of all time. And with that, if you want to leave a comment down below letting me know what your favorite cryptid is as well, feel free. I would love to have that conversation with y'all. And again, if we could reach another 2,500 subs by the end of the year, that would be amazing. I think I would be really planning something for my 10K sub special. If we do manage to get there. I think we will, because I think that's pretty simple to make it. But yeah, this is really about it. So if you guys enjoyed, leave a like. Of course, comment down below about what your favorite is. And again, subscribe to the channel to continue up with the rest of at least the cryptozoology shit that I do talk about on here. And until next time, guys, I am the DM.